photographer from New York, here today for Boomerocity.com. I was going to talk today about LaBelle, the band that I met in the early 70s, but I'd rather focus more on Vicki Wickham, their manager, because she was an incredible woman. Very proper, elegant English lady, but she was the associate producer of a TV show in England called Ready Steady Go from 1963 to 66. And on Ready Steady Go, they introduced England a lot of new bands, the Beatles, the Stones, from America, the Beach Boys, Jerry Lee Lewis. But she also had a lot of American R&B acts. She introduced Diana Ross and the Supremes, Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells, and James Brown, Otis Redding, Little Richard, Jimi Hendrix, Marvin Gaye, Ike and Tina Turner, and the Four Tops were all introduced to England by Vicki Wickham on Ready Steady Go. She also became very good friends with Dusty Springfield, and she co-wrote Dusty Springfield's big hit, You Don't Have to Say You Love Me, which is played somewhere every single day in the world, or somewhere in the world every single day. Anyway, when I met Vicki, it was a very interesting meeting because it was a couple days after I met Ike and Tina Turner, and Ike had told me to come to meet him at his room in a Plaza Hotel, and he would introduce me to a publicist. And I didn't know anybody in the music business at that point. But I remember coming down the hall to Ike's room, and there was a woman standing in front of the door looking a little nervous. When I got there, she asked if I was coming in to see Ike, and I said yes, and she asked if she could come in with me. I think she was a little nervous about going into Ike Turner's hotel room all by herself. But it turned out that Vicki was not afraid of many things at all, as I learned later. But I remember how she introduced herself to me. She said, "My name is Vicki Wickham, and I manage a band called LaBelle. And Patti LaBelle is like Tina Turner, but different." And I always remembered that expression because it was so true. Patti LaBelle is very dynamic, very exciting, kind of like Tina Turner, but different. So after that, Vicki hired me to photograph LaBelle many times in the next couple of years. And I remember for the first photo session, Vicki liked to go to unusual places, so we went to the Lodi Boys Club gym in Lodi, New Jersey. And she had the band hanging from the hanging rings that people exercise on and the parallel bars. And at one point she asked the girls to jump in the swimming pool with their clothes on. It was all kind of very strange, not the kind of things that I would usually ask for. But their first album cover for their self-titled LaBelle album had the girls hanging from the hanging chairs, two of them hanging by their knees, and Patti in the middle looking triumphant hanging on the rings. For the next photo session, I think we went out to Coney Island. I took a bunch of pictures out there. The album cover that came from that for their album Moonshadow shows them sitting on a bench with about a dozen old Coney Island men who are probably still sitting on that bench today. Anyway, it made for a very unusual album cover, and Vicki was always good at that. I did 3 album covers for LaBelle, but it was the 4th album, Lady Marmalade, that actually got their big hit. And they played for a long time on that hit, but they didn't get another hit after that, so eventually they kind of separated and went separate ways. I remember Vicki went on to manage Morrissey and Mark Allman and several others. And actually in 2013, Vicki was awarded the OBE, the Order of the British Empire, one of the highest awards they give to civilians in England, for her contributions to English music culture. Patti LaBelle, of course, went on to a huge solo career, popular around the world as a major recording artist and a major diva. Nona Hendryx went on to a very active avant-garde career, and Sarah Dash had a varied career singing backup for many live shows and recordings, notably singing for Keith Richards and the Rolling Stones. Sadly, Sarah passed away last September. But anyway, I had a great time with LaBelle. You should listen to their albums, listen to their music, and think about Vicki Wickham and all the contributions that she made as a woman in the 1960s to English music. Thanks.